back to the Childhood Cancer Perspective. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this journey as I detail what it is like to be the family, the father, the parent, and also having my daughters on, so having siblings going through this with their sister during a cancer diagnosis. Now, this week, I want to talk about something that is very, very close to us, much like every episode, but very close to us in the sense that we are just a few short days away from JC's heavenly birthday. She would be 11 years old this year on Valentine's Day, February 14th. So this year, it's becoming more and more difficult, I think, to get through it. More and more difficult as these days come closer. As we see the Facebook memories pop up that show when she was going through her treatments, when she was first diagnosed, the support that we had from our community, from her class. And it's really something that is difficult to watch, difficult to see. And then to know that this approaching day is coming, it is also difficult for us to really grasp and hold on to the fact that this is once again another birthday that she will not celebrate with us. She would have been 11 years old this year. We're going in the third year of not having her here. And I wanted to talk about something that I would like to maybe coin as the new normal. And the new normal for us is really focused on making sure that our other two children are taken care of, that they are succeeding in life. They're getting everything that they need. We're not taking time away from them that we could be spending with them. We're at every single gymnastics competition. We're at every single play. If our daughter wants to go, we are there. We are on college tours. We're making sure we are making the most out of every single chance that we have. And as parents, I think that that's ingrained in us, that we have to spend every waking moment, making sure that our kids are taken care of. However, it's also easy to become very complacent. It's very easy to say no. It's very easy to get caught up in your phone or your work, watching videos. It's very easy to get caught up and taken away from family. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with being focused on your career or being focused on other things, but you want to make sure, at least in our world, we can't get that time back, and we will never get to see the time move forward. So making sure to spend as much time as possible with your kids and giving them every opportunity that they have and giving them every ounce of attention that you can give them is important, because at any moment in time it could change, and then you can't go back and say, I wish I would have, because there's no way to do that. Moving forward, I can't spend any more time or make up time with JC because she's not here. So with my other two children, I try to do the best I can to be in their life as much as possible and give them the support and love that they need, that I wasn't able to continue giving to JC here on earth, because she's in heaven now, and I'm missing out on opportunities that I know she would have had. I'm missing out on chances for her to succeed and do amazing things, and I don't want to miss out on those opportunities with my other two daughters. So when I say a new normal, you can really choose, something that happened to us about a week or so ago, really sparked this thought in my mind, is that you can either remain in the past or you can move forward with life, but still maintaining your child's legacy. And what I mean by that is that up until about a week ago, our daughter's room, JC's room, was the exact same way that it was the day that she passed. We had not removed anything. Aside from the medical equipment and things like that, her room was the way that it was. Her bed was made. Her stuffed animals were on the bed. Everything was there, the way that she left it. And up until about a week ago, when unfortunately an animal had an accident in there, we hadn't had to go in and really do anything, and it was basically like just a time capsule. You'd go in there, and for me, I would take opportunities every now and then and go in and sit and just talk to her, or just sit and think. And it can give you a very, very a heavy feeling to walk in that room, but it was comforting to me because I felt like I was close to her. I felt like I could be in that space, and I felt like I was right where I was years ago with her, making jokes, or with her laughing, or with her just enjoying the fact that she had that room even for a short amount of time. And so I've always taken it as a comforting thing. My wife doesn't really go in there because it doesn't feel right to her. She can't do it. And so up until about a week ago, that room was exactly the way that we had left it. We hadn't changed it. We hadn't moved anything aside from, I think at one point we switched out our mattress and we put everything back, but otherwise it was exactly the way it was. So this was us staying in the past, and not wanting, and that mainly me, not wanting to change anything. And the reason that I didn't want to change anything is because I felt like changing anything in her room or taking anything away from her room or anything, it was disrespecting her memory and her space. And I just felt really weird about doing that. I felt like we can't do that. We can't move things. We can't take things out of here. This is her space. But at the same time, understanding that yes, it is her space, but she would have wanted us to be happy and would have wanted us to use this space for something that would be honoring her memory, but at the same time still maintaining the legacy that she left behind and not taking away anything from what she had done or what she would have wanted or how she would have wanted to keep her room. And so, when tragedy strikes like this, I can honestly say that I think a lot of people would get stuck in that, living in the past, never change, never do anything. And I was right there. I would have been perfectly content. And now we've closed her door because her door was open for all these years. But now I've closed it. And it was one of those things where I'd be perfectly content closing the door and never allowing anybody in there, because I feel like that's a sacred space. That's where at one point she was happiest, and that's where she took her last breath. And I feel like I'm betraying her by allowing people in there, or by not maintaining it as her room. But at the same time, realizing that at some point down the line, if we decide to sell this house, that somebody's going to change that room. They are not going to leave things the way they are or leave the paint job the way that it is, and we'll have to accept it. But all this time up until now, it's been like a time capsule, and I didn't want to change it. I didn't want to, move anything, and for the most part, we've left it alone. But I've always had this overwhelming feeling of disrespect or failure when I do anything. If I moved anything, or if something got knocked over, or if if a cat went in there and did something, it's like I feel like I'm disrespecting her. I feel like I'm failing because I didn't get to protect her, and now I can't even protect her room, which should be easy. Should be close the door and protect it. But we've always wanted to have that door open for, because that's the way that she was. She never closed the door on you. She'd be welcoming you in with open arms, welcoming you into her space and allowing you to enjoy the space that she had. So for me to close that door, it felt like I was closing off a space that was hers, closing her off. So that was something that, really I couldn't do. And right now, it's out of necessity until we can, find a way to keep the animals out of there, because I don't want her stuff disrespected. I don't want her space disrespected. I don't want her life and everything that she had accomplished up until then, and her likes and her joy. I don't want it to be ruined or hurt or destroyed. So, but that feeling of disrespect and failure, I think, is something that if you go through something like this, where you lose a child, it will overtake you. That feeling will absolutely overtake you, and create a deep, deep feeling in you that is really hard to shake off. There's not a whole lot of ways that you can get rid of that feeling, because you are always thinking that, what if? You're always, when you get hit with that feeling, it's, I should be able to change this. I should be able to fix this now. And but if you clean the room, if you move furniture, it's again, it's you're putting a change into something that you were going to leave alone forever. You were never going to change it. And it makes you feel like you're almost erasing them because you're moving their stuff. And I think a bigger part of that, that came not too long after she passed. We a few months before we had really kind of settled enough that we could do it. But packing away some of her things, the basement was full of her toys, of her. She had a whole shopping center set up and a baby nursery set up, and it was all things that she, she had a Barbie dream house that she had gotten, just the Christmas prior. All things that she didn't really get to enjoy as much as she wanted to once she got sick, but she loved all of it. So putting those things away was a very, very hard process for us. And again, feeling like you're shutting her out, feeling like you're kind of removing her. At the same time, I think we've added just as many pictures around the house of her and her things to keep her memory alive and things like that. But it is really hard to understand that just doing those things is not erasing your child. It's not erasing the memory. It's not removing them from your life. I have an office in the basement, and the entire thing now is my desk and a couch and all of her stuff. Anything and everything that was in the basement and things that we had cleared out of her room when she had her special spaces done, all of that was placed into my office in storage bins to keep it safe from being ruined or peed on by a cat or something like that. And then she has her bedroom still with all of her stuff in it. And there's a very good possibility that I may, and I think I talked about this last week, that I may move my podcast studio up into her bedroom. And it's hard for me because, like I said, I feel like I'm disrespecting her space, but at the same time, it allows me to be really close to her. It allows me to do something in a space that really is for her and have her with me there all the time. And it's a possibility. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. I don't know if it would be too hard for me to be able to do it, but it's a definite possibility, and I'm really thinking about the idea of whether or not it would work. But it would be something that I could do to really honor her even more so than I feel like I'm trying to do right now. But moving forward with a new life when your child has passed away tragically, obviously for us it was pediatric cancer, but for any type of tragic loss of a child, moving forward is something that I've always said is the only way that you can go. You're never going to move on. Moving on indicates that you are leaving the past behind. Moving on indicates that you are going to forget the bad times, forget the good times even, and just move on from that part of your life and that chapter, close the book and move on. That is something that we will never do. We only moved forward in a new way of life so that we could adjust the way that we took care of our other two daughters, adjust the way that we lived our life, adjust the way that our priorities were taken care of. And our priorities have changed in the past few years. Our priorities have been a lot more focused in our nonprofit, and they've been focused a lot more in being a peer mentor, or focused in being somebody that can provide advice or comfort to other families that are going through this. And hopefully it is something that allows them to really understand and really feel part of a community. As I've said it before, this community is something that nobody wants to be a part of. But once you are a part of it, the families that are part of it, we would do anything for. And as long as you want that comfort and you want that friendship and you want that that person that will just listen to you when you need to listen or when you need to speak, then we're here. And if you allow that to be a part of your life, then we will be here. It is something that is very important to us as a family and as an organization, that we continue to provide that type of support to as many people as we can. And JC's life will never be something that was lived in vain. That is an absolute. That's not something that we will ever waver from. So moving forward in life, you have to make decisions, and you have to make sure that what your decisions are, they are going to affect you and everybody around you in a positive light, and that you're going to do things that are going to bring people together and not drive them apart. Being part of this family, and then being part of a different family, which is the grieving parents family, is not something that I believe that I would or anybody in this position would wish on their worst enemy. I do believe that it is something that can never really be fixed, in a sense of you're never going to truly be okay. I know in previous episodes I've spoken about that as well. The mental state of somebody that goes through this, the psyche of somebody that goes through this is completely broken, and there is no way to really write that passage, and there's no way to make it any better. It's the only thing you can really do is adjust your priorities and adjust your life to fit your new quote unquote life that you will have to move forward with. Your life will move forward with memories. Your life will move forward with new adventures, with new things that you will have to face through adversity, through heartbreak. You will have to face new days, new memories, in not memories, but anniversaries. You will have to meet, or you have to meet people that are going through this, and you will have to really become a stronger person, not for anybody but you, just to ensure that you get through every single day. And going through this on a day-to-day basis will never, ever, ever, ever get easier. You just find better ways to deal with it. You find better ways to cope. You find better ways to put your walls up. Again, spoken about before, you will find better ways to put your walls up and better ways to show people only what you want them to see. I, to this day, any day, if I pick something up of Jace's, and if I put it away, or I don't, it's not out in the open anymore. Not something, the other, like I said, when I had to clean up her room, I had to put her blankets in her closet. These are all things that were just out and just kind of in her room. And now they are all just stuffed in her closet to be away from any kind of harm when it comes to any type of animals and things like that. But, putting those away was hard. Putting those away in that closet means opening that closet. And when you do that, you see tons and tons of clothes with tags still on them. You see tons of toys in there that she never really got to enjoy. You see shoes that she will no longer wear again. You'll see items that she got when she was inpatient at a hospital. Her robe that she wore essentially the last few weeks of her life religiously, because she wanted to take baths every 5 minutes, and that was part of her cognitive decline. It was when she took baths that made her feel better, and it comforted her. But then 10 minutes later, she'd want to get in again because she couldn't remember that she had done it. And so you see that robe in there that, in my opinion, still smells like her even now. You go into their bathroom and you see her bath salts that she used every single time she took a bath, and you can smell those. And, these are all things that are now kind of put away, they're not forgotten, but they're put away. But those memories, they don't stop. Those memories don't ever go away. They don't ever cease to to creep up on you and be right there in front of your face. And so trying to move forward in life when every single turn of your life is you see a picture of her, or you see a toy of hers, or you see a sticker that she put in my car, or you find things. I still to this day, and it's not because we're dirty people, it's just that things kind of roll around and get lost. But I mean, still to this day, you find things that have either rolled under the couch or rolled under your car seat, rolled under, a bed or whatever, and it's a port cap, or it's something from her IV. It's something, those things that just kind of pop up. And moving forward, you try to not allow these things to really get you into a mental breakdown state. You try not to let them, every single time you see them, put you in a state of you can't do anything anymore. But you will move forward in life, unfortunately, getting up on days that you think everything is going to be fine, and you just cannot seem to get out of your funk. You cannot seem to put on a smile for the day. You can't seem to put on a smile for anybody. You are just in a state of despair, in a state of depression. And moving forward is kind of a way of life, but it's not always going to be pretty, and it's not always going to be easy, and it's not always going to be something that is going to work. You are going to go through times when there's just no way that you're going to get out of that funk. There's no way that you're going to move into a state of happiness, and it sucks. And it sucks a lot, because you are at that stage where you feel like moving anything or removing anything, or if you throw something away that's broken but it was hers, or throw something away that's ruined but it was hers. When I go through old Christmas decorations, there's things that she made, things that they make when they're in the younger grades with, like toilet paper rolls, and they make little snowmen, or they make a manger scene out of them that they cut out of paper and they glue onto the toilet paper rolls, and they come home with it, and they're so proud of it. They're so happy. And every year you put it out somewhere. And, just this past year, there was a lot of that type of stuff, even from our older two as well, that have just been in the bottom of boxes, or they've been smashed in a box, through no fault of anybody's, or they've been, ripped or something like that. And, although at some point you can't throw it away, because that's hers. That was her artwork. Her hands were used to make that. She touched that with her soul and with everything that she put into it. At that point, that was the best thing that she could give you, and she did it. And throwing it away breaks your heart. But at the same time, you have to look at it as you got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy something that she did for you, and did for your family, and did for the house, and did for her sisters, and you got to enjoy that. And getting rid of it because it's been ruined or smashed or ripped or whatever is not, because you're not getting rid of her memory. You're not getting rid of her creativity. You're getting rid of something that's tangible that unfortunately can't be saved. But the memory of her doing it, the photographs that you have of her doing it, the excitement that she had when she gave it to you, that will never be something that anybody can take away from you. And you getting rid of it does not erase anything. It doesn't stop the memory from happening. It doesn't make it to where those things don't exist anymore. It just is something tangible, something that you can put your hands on, that unfortunately just has to be gotten rid of. And a lot of the things, when she first passed away, we had some stuffed animals and things like that we gave to her friend. That was not her friend. I mean, technically her friend, but really her unicorn sister, Sam. And they were exactly 1 year apart. And so her birthday is coming up as well on the 14th, where she would have been 12 years old. And we gave them a lot of her stuffed animals. We gave them some furniture, things like that we knew we weren't going to be able to use, but that they would put to good use. And we felt in our hearts that it would be taken care of, that it wouldn't just be destroyed, or it wouldn't just go to, Goodwill or something where it would sit there and get wrecked, and people would understand how important these items were to us, and they weren't just going to throw them away. They weren't just going to ignore the meaning behind what they were. So we gave a lot of that stuff to them. We were very, very, very extremely picky about things that we gave to anybody because we did not want them to just be another item in a basket somewhere collecting dust. We didn't want it to be something that would be used as a chew toy, and we also didn't want it to be something go somewhere where it's just going to be destroyed or forgotten about, or the memory was going to be just completely ignored. So we were very picky about these types of things. So only very close friends of ours at that moment in time received things from JC. And it wasn't because other people weren't deserving or other people couldn't have had these types of items. It was because it felt very strongly to us that these people, based on their involvement with us at that time, would take the best care of these items. And so at that point, it hurt. It hurt to give these items away. It absolutely hurt to give these items away. And I remember, excuse me, I'm a lot more, I guess, sentimental and emotional in our relationship in that side where it's easy for me to get upset or me to get attached to things. So it was always a question, anytime something was going to be given away or there was even a thought of something being given away, it was always, are you going to be okay with this? I know my wife would ask me, are you going to be okay with this? Is this going to be okay? And I'd say, to be honest with you, I'd always say, listen, if it was up to me, I'd get rid of nothing. I would lock this house up tight. I would keep everything of hers in the same place that it was, and I would never get rid of it because of feeling guilty about getting rid of her stuff, like we're trying to remove her. But in my mind, I knew that wasn't true. In my mind, I knew that that's not realistic either, that, getting rid of her stuff or even, passing it along to other people was not removing her. It was making sure that those items still got plenty of use. And that's what she would have wanted because she loved to share. She loved to be kind and think of other people before she thought of herself. So giving those items to other people just made sense. And it was the way that it needed to happen. So yeah, it was definitely difficult for me to really think about giving away things or think about those things not being in our house or those things not being in her room or just part of what we were doing at that moment. But for me, I came to terms with it just knowing that things would be respected. But when you move forward in this type of life, in this type of, again, what we'll call is a new normal, when you move forward with this, you are not forgetting the person that you lost. You are not removing their memory from your life. You are not replacing them or replacing their memory. You are not erasing anything that they accomplished, whether it's in 8 years or 50 years. You're not erasing it. There's a reality that hits that, yes, you can absolutely continue to maintain things exactly the way that they were every single step. You have a routine and you could just never change it, and that would be okay because that's, if that's how you move forward, if that's how you cope, then that's okay. That's on you. That's nobody's saying that that's wrong. But the reality for us is that we have 2 other daughters. We have responsibilities for them. We have responsibilities for our organization. We have responsibilities for the people that we represent. And we have responsibilities mainly to Jace to make sure that her memory and her legacy live on, and that her legacy is that she always wanted to help other people and that her memory is never forgotten. We have an absolute responsibility to make sure that that is upheld. And that's what we're trying to do here, is to ensure that her legacy is upheld, ensure that her memory is kept alive, and ensure that everything we do is for that reason and that reason only. And that getting rid of some toys or moving her bedroom around in some way just to accommodate if I was to go in there and do the podcast from there, or if we ever got rid of her clothes that still have tags on them, which, that's something. Listen, we're 3 years into this now. We still haven't done that. And I don't know when that process will come across for us to do, because it's a lot to give away stuff, even if it's something that she never got to use, but she should have. And it's that future aspect of it that I think that it even makes it even more difficult than getting rid of things that she used already, because she never had the opportunity. And these are, things that she would have picked out, she would have loved, she would have worn them to school every single day. She would have absolutely been in love with going to school and growing up with her friends. And going to school and growing up with her friends in these clothes, with these toys, with this backpack, with all the school supplies you have to buy every year. Like, she would have been in love with that. And getting rid of things that she no longer used or was never able to, there's a difference. And it doesn't get any easier. And from the perspective of a dad, I think my wife would agree, from the perspective of a mom, that none of this will ever get any easier. We will never move on with life. We will always do everything with her memory in mind. We will always we will always do things with the thought process that she should have been doing this. She would have been so proud. We will always move forward with that. I know that my oldest is going to go to college in the fall, and I know she's going to take JC with her. And I know JC's going to be right there with her to ensure that her college career starts right and her college career moves forward in a positive direction. I know that our soon-to-be 16-year-old will be in high school by herself next year, obviously with her sister graduating. And she has continued to carry JC's legacy with her every single day. She has a school project again going on this year that will honor JC's memory. Something else that we'll be able to incorporate into our nonprofit business. Something that both daughters now have contributed in honor of their sister. So moving forward for everybody has a different view. Moving forward for everybody has a different way of doing things, and there's no right or wrong way. Again, with college, my daughter, with what she decides to do, I believe a lot of that is going to be geared towards being an independent person and being able to really understand people and the way that they think and the way that they act, with her business degree and with psychology. And with Miley, everything is going to be geared towards her attempt to really attack the career of child life, or really get into a child-related industry that is meant on helping people, because that is what she is really focused on. And I'm really excited to see what both of them do. And, with myself, I am focusing 100% not only on the nonprofit, but also on advocacy on this podcast. And that is my way to honor JC, is to make sure that her life was not in vain, to make sure that there is something somewhere down the line that has her name on it that helps millions of other people. And my wife is right there by my side, doing that, advocating with me, helping me run this business. We do it together as a family. We're doing everything in honor of JC and in honor of all these amazing kids that we've met along the way. And we are showing no signs of slowing down, no signs of stopping. So everybody moves forward in their own way. Everybody honors people in their own way, and everybody has their own manner of doing things. But I am so proud to be part of this family. I'm so proud to be part of this community, because I know what kind of amazing people there are in here that need help and that will help and that will do incredible things. So thank you all so much again for listening, for sticking with me. I will see you all next week for a brand new episode of the Childhood Cancer Perspective. Thank you very much, guys.